where the trail finds its wild heart, the North Country in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. By Peace Love Sunshine. The North Country Trail's journey across Michigan's Upper Peninsula is both a history of the land itself and of the people who came together to carve a continuous footpath through one of the most rugged regions in the Midwest. Today, the trail spans roughly 550 miles in the UP, winding through forests, waterfalls, ridges, and the endless sweep of Lake Superior's shoreline. But its story began decades earlier when the vision for a northern long-distance hiking route first took root. When Congress passed the National Trails System Act of 1968, it created a framework for national scenic trails that would link natural beauty with cultural heritage. The Appalachian and Pacific Crest Trails were the first designated, but the act also encouraged future additions. In the 1970s, conservationists and planners pushed for a trail across the northern tier of the United States, and Michigan, particularly the Upper Peninsula, was at the center of those conversations. The UP was an obvious choice. With its vast swaths of federally managed land, its wealth of natural landmarks, and its rugged character, it provided both the wildness and the practicality needed to anchor such a project. The establishment of Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore in 1966, along with the large Ottawa and Hiawatha National Forests, gave the trail a solid corridor of protected land to build upon. When the North Country National Scenic Trail was officially designated in 1979, one of the first priorities was to chart its route across Michigan's North Country. The planners envisioned a trail that would showcase the UP's diversity, from the old-growth forests of the Porcupine Mountains to the thundering waters of Tahquamenon Falls, from inland bogs and pine barrens to the sandstone cliffs of Lake Superior. In the early 1980s, the very first miles of NCT to be completed and blazed were here, in the UP. Pictured Rocks was a natural starting point. It already had existing hiking paths, federal protection, and some of the most dramatic scenery on the entire Great Lakes. Soon after, the trail extended west into the Ottawa National Forest and east through the Hiawatha, gradually knitting together a continuous corridor of backcountry trail. Unlike many other states along the NCT's route, where early hikers had to walk long stretches of road due to private property barriers, the UP offered a different advantage: public land continuity. Volunteers and federal partners were able to build actual foot trail from the beginning, giving this portion of the NCT a wilderness character that set it apart. Local chapters of the North Country Trail Association, such as the Superior Shoreline Chapter, Peter Wolf Chapter, and Hiawatha Shore to Shore Chapter, played a crucial role. Armed with hand tools, maps, and determination, volunteers cut trail corridors, built bridges, and painted the distinctive blue blazes that guide hikers today. To this day, the UP remains one of the most volunteer-driven sections of the entire trail, with tens of thousands of hours invested by community members to keep it open and thriving. The UP's NCT is not only a natural corridor, but also a cultural one. Hikers following its route encounter the ghostly remnants of 19th century logging camps, the quiet traces of abandoned mining operations from the Copper Country era, and the vast ceded lands of the Anishinaabe people, particularly the Ojibwe, whose relationship with this land stretches back centuries. Every mile carries a sense of layered history, wilderness and human industry, memory and renewal. The trail also connects small towns and rural communities, places where hikers often find not just resupply, but also local stories and traditions tied to the North Woods. By the 1990s and early 2000s, the UP portion of the NCT had become one of its most continuous and complete stretches. Connections were strengthened between Pictured Rocks, Grand Marais, and Tahquamenon Falls, and western links through the Porcupine Mountains and Ottawa National Forest grew more defined. In 2000, when Congress approved the eastern extension of the NCT into Vermont, the UP became even more important as a central spine of the expanded trail system. What had once been a vision on a map was now a living, walkable corridor stretching across the breadth of northern Michigan. Today, the Upper Peninsula section is widely recognized as one of the premier destinations along the North Country Trail. Hikers can walk through old-growth hemlock and sugar maple stands, trace Lake Superior's wind-carved cliffs and hidden beaches, and follow rivers that tumble into cascades and falls. Wildlife thrives here, from black bears and bald eagles to wolves, moose, and the haunting calls of loons. More than anywhere else along the 4,800-mile route, the UP embodies what the North Country Trail was meant to be: a thread of wilderness, history, and community woven together through the dedication of countless volunteers and the enduring spirit of the land itself. The history of this portion of the trail is still being written. While the vision of a fully connected path is not yet complete nationwide, the Upper Peninsula stands as a model of what the NCT can be: wild, resilient, and deeply rooted in both natural and human history. For many who walk its miles, the UP is not just a section of the trail, but the very heart of the North Country story. Thank you for watching. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet.